Gentlemen, let me hit you with the truth that no one dares to say out loud. The number one reason most men over 60 wake up feeling weak, tired, and old is not because of age itself. It's because every single night their bodies are starving of the raw materials needed to rebuild strength, restore hormones, and recharge the fire of manhood. That's why so many mornings feel heavy, empty, and lifeless. But here's the shock. It doesn't have to be this way, and you can change it starting tonight. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I've spent more than 3 decades helping men reclaim their vitality, their confidence, and their health. I've worked with thousands of men your age who once believed their best mornings were long gone, only to discover that nature still holds a simple answer when modern medicine and endless prescriptions could not. Here's the paradox that most people miss. The very hormone that drives your energy, your muscle strength, and that unmistakable morning vitality is built while you sleep. Yet most older men never supply their bodies with the one nutrient combination needed to complete this process. And the surprising solution isn't a pill or an expensive therapy, it's a humble seed that almost every man overlooks. Imagine this. You chew a small handful before bed, you fall into deeper sleep, and you wake up with the kind of drive and vigor you thought belonged only to your teenage years. That is the power of this seed, and it can completely change the way you feel when you open your eyes tomorrow morning. Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll reveal exactly what this seed is, why it works, and how one nightly ritual can transform the way you wake up for the rest of your life. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another men's health tip designed especially for you. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you're ready to bring back your morning vitality, type 1 below. If you're still on the fence, type 0. And let me know how I can improve these videos to serve you better. Now let's begin with the first truth every man over 60 needs to hear. The real struggle isn't simply aging, it's the hidden decline that creeps in quietly. Poor sleep, fading energy, and weaker mornings aren't accidents. They are signals that your body is running on empty. 1. The hidden struggle of aging men. When I sit across from men in my clinic, men in their 60s and 70s, the story I hear most often is not about a disease or a diagnosis. It's about a feeling. They lean in and lower their voices, almost ashamed to admit it. Doctor, I just don't feel like myself anymore. I wake up in the morning and it's as if someone drained the life out of me while I was asleep. I remember when I used to get out of bed ready to take on the day, but now I feel heavy, slow, and old. If you're a man over 60, I want you to know something very important. You are not alone in this struggle. Almost every man I see tells me the same thing in different words. The mornings that used to feel powerful and full of energy now feel flat and dull. That spark of vitality that made you feel alive seems to have faded into the background. And I understand how devastating that can feel, because it doesn't just affect your body. It affects your confidence, your mood, and the way you look at yourself in the mirror. The hidden struggle of aging men is not just about wrinkles, gray hair, or slower reflexes. It's about the silent decline that creeps in so gradually you almost don't notice until one day you realize you can't remember the last time you woke up feeling truly alive. You accept more fatigue, more fogginess, more restless nights. You think it's simply part of getting older. But what if I told you that's only half the truth? See, aging itself isn't the enemy. The real problem is that as you grow older, your body's natural systems for restoring energy and strength become less efficient. The nights that should be restoring you are instead leaving you drained. Your sleep isn't as deep as it once was, your recovery isn't as complete, and your hormones, the very messengers that give a man his power, are no longer being produced in the same way. That's why you can sleep for 8 hours and still wake up feeling like you never slept at all. I've seen this happen over and over again. Strong men, once full of fire, reduced to dragging themselves through the day. And what pains me the most is that many of them accept it as their new reality. They think, well, I'm 65 now. This is just how life is. But I am here to tell you as your doctor, and as someone who has dedicated his career to men's health, it does not have to be this way. That spark inside of you, that sense of energy and purpose, it is still there. It's buried, Yes, but it's not gone. Your body is still capable of producing the very hormones and energy you once had. You simply need to understand what's holding it back. And here's the part that most men don't realize. The battle is not won during the day. It is fought and decided while you sleep. Because while you rest, your body is supposed to be repairing muscle, detoxifying the brain, and, most importantly, producing testosterone. That is the very hormone that makes you feel strong, sharp, and ready for the day. But if you are not sleeping deeply, or if your body doesn't have the raw materials it needs, you wake up depleted. It's not your imagination. It's not weakness. It's biology. I often tell my patients, the mornings are a mirror. They reflect what happened the night before inside your body. If your hormones were rebuilt, if your energy was restored, you wake up ready. If they weren't, you wake up empty. And for men over 60, the sad reality is that most are waking up empty day after day, year after year. That is the hidden struggle of aging men. Not the number of birthdays you've celebrated, but the silent decline of sleep quality and hormone production that robs you of your mornings. Now here's the good news, and it's something that changes everything. You can reverse this pattern, you can restore your mornings. And it all begins with a deep understanding of how your body actually produces testosterone overnight. Because once you see where the process breaks down, you'll understand exactly how to fix it. And that takes us straight into the next truth, why testosterone peaks at night, and why unlocking this secret could be the key to waking up like a teenager again. 2. Why testosterone peaks overnight. One of the greatest misunderstandings I see in men over 60 is the belief that testosterone is something you can only get from outside your body, through injections, pills, or complicated therapies. And while those medical treatments have their place, the truth is far more encouraging. Your body, even at 60, 70, or 80, is still capable of producing testosterone naturally. The question isn't whether your body can make it. The real question is whether you're giving your body the conditions it needs to do so. And that leads us to one of the most overlooked truths in men's health. Testosterone is built at night, not during the day. Think about it. When you wake up in the morning and you feel that spark of energy, that sense of strength in your body, it's not because of something you did right then, it's because of what happened while you slept. During the deepest stages of non-REM sleep, your pituitary gland sends powerful signals to your testicles, essentially saying, it's time to build. This is when testosterone production is supposed to surge, peaking in the early morning hours just before you open your eyes. That's why a healthy man in his 20s would so often wake up with that unmistakable sense of vitality. It wasn't a coincidence. It was biology working exactly as designed. But here's where things become frustrating for older men. As the decades pass, your sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. You toss and turn, wake up to use the bathroom, or simply struggle to fall into a truly deep sleep at all. And if you never enter those long, restorative cycles, the signal for testosterone is weaker, sometimes barely a whisper. I cannot tell you how many patients I've seen who come in exhausted, convinced their body is broken, when in reality, it's not broken at all. It's just being deprived of the very sleep that drives hormone production. What makes this even more heartbreaking is how invisible it is. Men blame their age, their stress, or even themselves. They think they're lazy, weak, or losing their willpower. But it's not about willpower, it's about chemistry. If your body cannot drop into deep, non-REM sleep, then the very process that builds testosterone is cut short. And that is why so many men wake up feeling lifeless, with no energy, no drive, and no spark left to give. Let me share something personal from my practice. I remember a man in his late 60s who came to see me. He was a retired engineer, sharp-minded but visibly worn down. His complaint was simple, "Doctor, I sleep, but I never feel rested. And my mornings, they're gone." When we examined his sleep patterns, it became clear he wasn't reaching deep sleep at all. His body was working every night without ever reaching the stage where testosterone is produced. After helping him make small changes to restore that sleep, his mornings transformed. Within weeks, his energy returned, his confidence grew, and he told me, "It feels like my body has remembered something it forgot decades ago." That's the power of understanding why testosterone peaks overnight. And here's what I want every man listening to me right now to understand. Your nights are not just downtime. They are the most critical hours of your entire day. Every deep sleep cycle is an opportunity to refill your tank, to restore your hormones, to rebuild your strength. If you lose that opportunity, you wake up running on empty. But if you can reclaim it, mornings become a gift again, full of energy, clarity, and that youthful drive you thought was lost. So the real secret to waking up like a teenager isn't found in the gym or even at the doctor's office. It's hidden in the depth and quality of your sleep. And if testosterone is the fuel that makes you a man, then sleep is the factory where that fuel is made. Without one, you cannot have the other. Now that you understand why your body is supposed to peak at night, let me show you the first major obstacle that blocks this process in men over 60. It's a deficiency so common, so silent, that almost every man I test is missing it, and without it, your testosterone simply cannot rise. This missing link is the true reason most men wake up weaker than they should, and in the next section, I'll reveal exactly what it is. 3. Enemy number 1. Zinc deficiency. When I talk with older men about their health, they often imagine that the biggest threats to their vitality are things like stress, lack of exercise, or maybe even just their age. And while those play a role, there's one silent deficiency I see in nearly every man who sits in my office. It's not dramatic. You don't feel it in your bones like arthritis. You don't see it in the mirror like gray hair. But it is quietly stealing your strength, draining your hormones, and leaving you weaker every morning. That enemy is zinc deficiency. Now, zinc is not some exotic nutrient. It's a simple mineral, but I call it the master mineral of manhood. Without it, your body cannot produce testosterone, period. And here's the cruel part. Zinc is one of the very first nutrients to disappear as you age. Our modern diets, filled with processed foods, don't replenish it. The medications many older men take, especially blood pressure pills, diuretics, and even heartburn drugs, can strip zinc from your body. And with every year that passes, the deficit grows deeper. I remember one patient in particular, a 72-year-old former high school football coach. He was a strong man in his younger years, a man who lived for the weight room and the Friday night lights. But when he came to see me, he looked tired and discouraged. He said, "Doc, I just don't feel like the man I used to be." We ran some simple tests, and sure enough, his zinc levels were critically low. After addressing that deficiency, something remarkable happened. Within a few weeks, he began waking up with more energy, his mood lifted, and he told me with a grin, "I thought those mornings were gone forever." But they're back. That's the power of zinc. Let's break down why it matters so much. Inside your body, there's a hormone called luteinizing hormone, often referred to as LH. Think of LH as the messenger that tells your testicles to produce testosterone, but LH can't function properly without zinc. If you don't have enough zinc in your system, that message gets lost, and testosterone production slows to a crawl. The result? Lower free testosterone, weaker mornings, declining energy, and fading confidence. But the story doesn't end there. Zinc also plays another vital role. It controls an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase is the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. Now, estrogen is not a bad hormone. Men need a little bit of it. But when aromatase is left unchecked, too much of your precious testosterone gets stolen and turned into estrogen. And what's the result? You gain fat around your belly, your mood darkens, your muscle mass slips away, and you lose that sharp edge that once defined you. By restoring zinc, you help keep aromatase under control, which means more of your testosterone stays where it belongs, fueling your strength, your drive, and your vitality. This is why I say zinc deficiency is enemy number 1 for older men. It doesn't scream for attention. It creeps in silently, year after year, until you wake up one day wondering why you feel so different, why your mornings are flat, why your energy is gone. And the tragedy is that most men never connect the dots. They think it's just age, when in reality, it's something as simple and fixable as restoring a mineral their body has been craving. And here's the encouraging part. You don't need a complicated treatment plan to fight this enemy. Nature has already given us foods rich in zinc, And one of the most powerful sources is the very seed we'll talk about shortly. By giving your body what it needs at night, you allow it to finally light the furnace again, to restore the testosterone production that should be peaking while you sleep. But zinc is only half the story. Even if you restore your levels, there's another barrier that stands between you and the deep, powerful sleep your body requires for testosterone to surge. It's a problem I see constantly in older men, and it has nothing to do with age itself. It has everything to do with brain chemistry. And if you don't solve this second enemy, your nights will remain restless, your mornings will remain empty, and your energy will never fully return. Let's take a closer look at this hidden obstacle and why it keeps so many men trapped. 4. Enemy number 2, poor sleep chemistry. When most men over 60 complain about feeling tired in the morning, they assume the problem is simply not getting enough hours of sleep. They think, if I could just stay in bed longer, maybe I'd feel better. But as I tell my patients, it's not the quantity of sleep that matters most, it's the quality. And the quality of your sleep is determined by the chemistry in your brain. If that chemistry is off balance, you can lie in bed for 8 or even 9 hours and still wake up exhausted. That is the second great enemy of men's vitality, poor sleep chemistry. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're lying in bed. The lights are off, you want to sleep, but your mind is racing. Thoughts about bills, health, family, or the aches in your body keep you awake. Even if you eventually drift off, your sleep is light, broken, and shallow. You wake up several times through the night, sometimes for no reason at all. And by morning, instead of feeling restored, you feel drained, almost as if you've been working all night rather than resting. This is not laziness or weakness, it is chemistry. At the center of this problem is a little-known amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is something your body cannot make on its own. You must get it from your food. Once it enters your system, tryptophan is converted into serotonin, the hormone that calms your mood, soothes your racing thoughts, and helps you feel content. From serotonin, your body then produces melatonin, the master sleep hormone. Melatonin is what tells your brain it is time to shut down, relax, and enter deep, restorative sleep. Without tryptophan, this entire chain reaction breaks down. The mind stays active, the body stays restless, and deep non-REM sleep, the very stage when testosterone is produced, is cut short. I remember a man in his mid-60s, a retired truck driver, who told me he hadn't had a good night's sleep in over 10 years. He would go to bed at 10, wake up at midnight, toss until 3, doze again until 5, and then give up. He believed it was just his age, but when we addressed his sleep chemistry, when we finally supported his body with the raw materials it needed, he slept deeply for the first time in years. I'll never forget the look on his face at his follow-up appointment. He said, "Doc, I woke up at 6, and I felt like I was 20 again. I didn't know sleep could do that." That is the difference between simply sleeping and sleeping with balanced chemistry. And here's the heartbreaking reality. Most men are unknowingly sabotaging their own sleep chemistry. Heavy dinners, late-night alcohol, endless exposure to screens, all of these things deplete tryptophan or block the conversion into serotonin and melatonin. The very hormones you need to rest deeply are being disrupted by habits that feel harmless. It's no wonder men wake up foggy and drained. Their bodies never even had the chance to rebuild. The tragedy is that when this happens night after night, year after year, testosterone levels fall, mood darkens, and life loses its color. You're not just tired, you're robbed of the one process that should make you feel alive each morning. But here's the good news. This cycle can be broken. By restoring tryptophan through the right foods, by protecting your brain chemistry in the evening, you can rebuild the bridge back to deep sleep. And when that sleep returns, your body finally has the chance to produce the testosterone that fuels your energy, confidence, and manhood. So, when we look at the two great enemies, zinc deficiency and poor sleep chemistry, it becomes clear why so many men feel half alive. But what if I told you there is one simple seed that conquers both of these enemies at the same time? A seed that provides zinc to ignite testosterone and tryptophan to restore deep sleep. A seed so small you could hold hundreds of them in your hand, yet so powerful it can transform the way you wake up in the morning. In the next section, I'll reveal exactly what that seed is and how to use it as part of your nightly ritual. 5. The seed that fixes both problems, pumpkin seed. After years of listening to men describe the same struggles, restless nights, flat mornings, fading vitality, I can tell you the breakthrough moment in my clinic is always the same. It's when a man finally understands that his body already has the ability to rebuild energy and testosterone. It just needs the right fuel at the right time. And that fuel, gentlemen, comes in the form of something so simple it often makes my patients laugh when I first tell them. It's not a drug, not a hormone injection, not even a complicated supplement stack. It's a humble, natural seed, the pumpkin seed. Now, I don't mean the roasted, salty snacks you might have bought at a ball game in your youth. I'm talking about raw, unsalted, shelled pumpkin seeds, often called pepitas. In their natural state, these seeds are one of the most powerful nutrient packages a man can consume before bed. Why? Because they strike at the heart of the two biggest enemies we've just discussed, zinc deficiency and poor sleep chemistry. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest natural sources of zinc. With every handful, you are feeding your body the master mineral it needs to signal testosterone production. You are restoring the message from your brain to your testicles that says, build, repair, restore. But they don't stop there. Pumpkin seeds also contain magnesium, which is widely known as the body's natural relaxant. Magnesium binds to receptors in your brain that calm the nervous system, slow racing thoughts, and prepare your body to slip into deep, uninterrupted sleep. It's like nature's own way of dimming the lights in your mind so that you can finally rest. And then comes the final gift, tryptophan. Inside every small seed is this essential amino acid, the very one your body needs to create serotonin and melatonin. That means when you chew pumpkin seeds before bed, you're handing your brain the raw material to calm your mood and trigger the sleep hormone cascade that leads to restorative rest. Zinc for testosterone, magnesium for relaxation, tryptophan for sleep chemistry, all in one tiny seed. That's why I call them a biological marvel. I remember a patient in his late 60s who was skeptical. He told me, "Doc, I've tried everything. Vitamins, teas, even prescriptions. Nothing works." I asked him to trust me for just 1 month and commit to a nightly ritual with pumpkin seeds. About an hour before bed, he took a quarter cup of raw pepitas, chewed them slowly, and swallowed with a full glass of water. 2 weeks later, he returned to my office with a smile I hadn't seen before. "It's working," he said. "I'm sleeping through the night, and I wake up with energy I haven't felt in years." That wasn't magic. That was his body finally being given the tools it needed to do its job. When you chew those seeds before bed, 3 things happen during the night. First, your body receives a potent shot of zinc and magnesium to set the stage for hormone production and deep rest. Second, tryptophan begins its beautiful transformation into serotonin and then melatonin, gently guiding you into restorative sleep. And third, while you are in that deep non-REM cycle, your endocrine system peaks. Your body uses the zinc, magnesium, healthy fats, and tryptophan from the pumpkin seeds to rebuild testosterone, repair muscle tissue, and clear toxins from the brain. By morning, you don't just wake up, you rise, alert, focused, and ready with that unmistakable vitality you thought was gone. And here's the most inspiring part. This doesn't take months to notice. Many of my patients report feeling the difference within 2 weeks. They sleep deeper, think clearer, and regain a sense of morning strength they feared was lost forever. It's not a quick fix pill, it's not artificial stimulation, it's biology working the way it was designed to. But I know what some of you may be wondering. What if you don't like pumpkin seeds? Or what if you want to rotate, to give your body a wider range of nutrients? The good news is that pumpkin seeds are the king, but they are not alone. There are other seeds, ancient, powerful, and full of unique benefits that can complement or even enhance this nightly ritual. In the next section, I'll introduce you to 4 more seeds that every man should know, each carrying its own secret power to restore energy, vitality, and masculinity. 6. Other seeds worth rotating. While pumpkin seeds remain the crown jewel for men over 60, I often remind my patients that the body thrives on variety. Just as you wouldn't eat the same meal every single day, you also shouldn't rely on only one food to carry all the weight of your health. The beauty of nature is that it offers us a wide range of seeds, each carrying its own unique set of compounds designed to nourish, repair, and strengthen. Rotating these seeds not only keeps your diet interesting, it also ensures that your body receives a broader spectrum of minerals, antioxidants, and essential fats. Let's begin with one of the most ancient and powerful seeds, black seed, sometimes called Nigella sativa. This tiny black grain has been praised for thousands of years, even referred to as the seed of blessing in ancient texts. Its true gift lies in a compound called thymoquinone, a potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Why does this matter for men in their 60s and beyond? Because inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside the body. It exhausts your adrenal glands, robs your energy, and interferes with healthy hormone production. When you chew a small spoonful of black seed or take a teaspoon of black seed oil before bed, it's like sending in a miniature army to calm that fire. Many of my patients notice that their breathing feels easier, their sleep more restful, and their mornings less weighed down by the invisible burden of inflammation. Then there is fenugreek, a small yellow-brown seed with a slightly sweet, maple-like taste. Fenugreek has been used in traditional medicine for centuries, particularly for male vitality. What makes it remarkable are compounds known as steroidal saponins. These saponins work by subtly reducing the activity of aromatase, the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. In simpler terms, fenugreek helps you hold on to more of the testosterone your body naturally produces. One man in his late 60s told me after trying fenugreek tea at night, "Doc, it feels like my body has remembered how to turn on the engine again." That's exactly what fenugreek does. It helps you keep more of your natural fuel. Another overlooked but powerful option is the sesame seed. Tiny, unassuming, often sprinkled on hamburger buns or sushi rolls, sesame seeds are actually loaded with zinc, rivaling even the pumpkin seed in mineral density. But sesame carries something extra: lignans, powerful plant compounds that protect the liver. And why does liver health matter for men? Because the liver is your hormone recycling center. Every night, while you sleep, your liver processes and balances hormones, ensuring they are available for use the next day. When you grind sesame seeds fresh and take them before bed, you give your liver the support it needs to do its job at full capacity. Finally, there is the hemp heart, perhaps the most balanced of them all. Hemp seeds contain all 21 amino acids, making them a complete protein source. For older men, this is critical, because maintaining muscle mass after 60 becomes an uphill battle. Hemp hearts provide the raw material for muscle repair during the night. Even more, their near-perfect ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids reduces inflammation, supports brain health, and provides the foundational fats from which hormones are built. One patient told me that adding hemp hearts before bed not only improved his sleep, but also kept his blood sugar stable through the night. He no longer woke up at 3 in the morning, restless and hungry. Instead, he slept straight through and woke refreshed. So, while pumpkin seeds stand as the cornerstone, rotating in black seed, fenugreek, sesame, and hemp, hearts allows you to broaden your arsenal. Each one attacks a different angle of the aging process, calming inflammation, protecting hormones, supporting the liver, and fueling overnight muscle repair. It's like equipping your body with a team of specialists, each handling their part so that by morning you feel whole again. But as powerful as these seeds are, there is one more truth you must understand. Seeds alone are not just about nutrients. They are about what they unlock inside of you. Because the real victory is not only in the minerals or the fats, but in the way they help you reclaim something far deeper, the emotional core of being a man. And that is exactly what we will explore next. 7. The emotional core and expected results. When I sit across from a man in his 60s or 70s, I can usually see the weight he carries in his eyes before he even says a word. It's not just the fatigue or the restless nights, it's the quiet frustration that he no longer feels like the man he once was. Many describe it as if life has dimmed, like someone slowly turned down the brightness switch without warning. And here's the truth I want every man to hear. It's not about vanity. It's not about chasing youth for shallow reasons. It's about reclaiming that core sense of who you are, your strength, your confidence, and the drive that carried you through the best years of your life. That is the emotional core of this journey. I've heard countless men describe the first time they realized something had changed. For one, it was waking up without that familiar morning vitality he'd relied on for decades. For another, it was looking at his wife and realizing his energy for intimacy had quietly faded. And for many, it was simply the moment they no longer recognized themselves in the mirror. These moments sting because they cut to the heart of masculinity. They whisper the lie that your best days are behind you, but I've spent more than 3 decades as a physician watching men prove that lie wrong. Because when you give your body the right tools, nutrients that restore hormones, foods that repair sleep chemistry, small rituals that honor your biology, the changes are not only physical. Yes, you will notice deeper sleep, more consistent energy, and that welcome surge of morning strength. But you'll also notice something harder to measure, the return of hope. I'll never forget a man who told me after 3 weeks of this nightly routine, "Doc, I feel like I've stepped back into myself. I laugh more. I look forward to mornings again. My wife says she sees the man she married." That, to me, is the greatest reward. It's not about pretending you're 20 again. It's about waking up and feeling ready for the day. It's about having the energy to play with your grandchildren, the drive to work on that project in the garage, the spark to take your wife out to dinner and actually enjoy yourself. These are not luxuries. They are the very moments that make life rich and meaningful, and when you lose them, the world feels smaller, but when you regain them, life expands again. What results can you realistically expect if you commit to this? Within the first 2 weeks, most men notice sleep becoming more restful, the tossing and turning eases, the 3 a.m. wake-ups fade, and mornings feel less like a struggle. By the end of a month, energy levels rise, the brain fog begins to lift, and often, men report the most personal sign of all, that familiar, unmistakable morning vitality returning, a signal that testosterone production is back on track. Over time, these results compound. Muscles repair more effectively, mood stabilizes, and the drive to live fully returns. But let me also say this. Your results are not just physical milestones. They are emotional victories. Every time you wake up feeling rested, every time you catch yourself smiling in the mirror, every time you feel alive in ways you thought were gone, you are reclaiming a part of yourself that matters more than any number on a lab test. That's why I tell my patients, this isn't about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. So as you consider these seeds, these rituals, and these results, remember, you are not just feeding your body, you are awakening your spirit. And that awakening, that rediscovery of yourself, is more powerful than any prescription I could ever write. Now, the only question that remains is simple. How do you begin? How do you take this knowledge and turn it into a nightly practice that transforms your mornings and restores your vitality? Let's bring everything together in the conclusion, where I'll give you the clear, simple roadmap to start tonight. 8. Conclusion. So here we are, gentlemen. We've walked through the hidden enemies that steal your strength, zinc deficiency, poor sleep chemistry, and the slow erosion of energy that makes mornings feel heavier with each passing year. We've uncovered the power of a single seed, the pumpkin seed, with its gift of zinc, magnesium, and tryptophan. And we've seen how it restores both testosterone and deep restorative sleep. We've explored the supporting cast of seeds, black seed, fenugreek, sesame, hemp, that together form a natural arsenal to protect your vitality. And finally, we've acknowledged what truly matters, not just the science, but the emotional core of feeling like yourself again. I share this not as theory, but as the lived experience of men who have sat in my office, many of whom doubted they could ever feel strong again. And yet, when they embraced these small, intentional changes, they woke up with hope, drive, and even joy they thought was lost forever. My advice is simple. Begin tonight. Take that handful of pumpkin seeds, chew them slowly, and let nature do what it was designed to do, because sometimes the smallest rituals lead to the most powerful transformations.